Papa's here once again, and today we shall take a look at the magnanimous, dominating blow of inspiring Juggernaut. From this beautiful footage, you can see that tankiness ain't lacking, and offensive abilities are not too shabby either. The inspiration behind this build came from a dream where I created the ultimate hybrid build, a build of builds of sorts. One where the player and their minions would deal damage. Pertaining to this goal I set forth for myself, I have failed greatly, but what I succeeded in was making a fantastic build the whole family can enjoy. Gone are the days where your children scoff at you for not being able to kill a blue mob. Gone are the days where your wife's boyfriend will not co-op with you because you lack strength. With this build, you can have it all. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's get right into it. This is the first time I've ever played with momentum and trauma support gems, and I'm pretty pleased with the result. Momentum gives us a lot of attack speed, enabling us to hit enemies quicker, which in turn helps us stack them trauma stacks. And the more trauma we have, the more damage we do. Even at 10 stacks, it's still the best support to use, at least for this build. With 3.25 right around the corner, I was actually looking at maybe seeing if this could be a good starter build, and in my humble opinion, that's a solid maybe. This build won't cost you an arm or a leg to put together, but there are a few items that are a bit costly, namely the amulet and few jewels. That being said, none of these items are required to play this build. They do add a lot of damage because the skill has essentially the effect of spiritual aid notable, but at a much higher degree. Increases to minion damage applied to this skill's damage at 300% value. And on top of that, the more you scale the quality of the gem, the more that effect goes up. The staff I'm using might also be a bit hard at League Start to obtain, but once people start running betrayal content, there will be plenty of them on the trade sites for cheap. On top of that, the mods you want to go for are plenty, because unlike most weapons where the mods are fairly locked in, you can aim for different stats depending on the content or build configuration you're aiming for. I'll show you some examples later. Now, looking at the defenses of this build, when everything is up, I have about 100k armor, almost 90% reduced extra damage taken from critical strikes. I am also using Unbreakable Ascendancy, which helps with elemental damage mitigation. Thanks to Fire Song Jewel, this build has 100% reduction of ailment duration. So for example, Shock Ground will still apply shock, but monsters cannot apply shock to us no matter how hard they hit us. Not too afraid of that because Corrupted Blood cannot be inflicted on me thanks to a Jewel's Implicit. Furthermore, I have 75% chance of avoiding bleeding altogether paired with 70% bleed duration reduction. The only thing that might get through is poison, but with decent chaos resistances paired with Pantheon and a life flask that freeze us of any poisons, it won't stand a chance. There are a few more ways to make it beefier, and conversely, there are a few things that can be sacrificed for more damage. I'll go over those options in the gear section. I think I talked enough. Let's go over the gear, where I will talk some more. Cane of Kulamak. I went for fist damage, minion damage, and impale chance, but you can go for minion attack speed. Could even entertain the idea of +3 to support gems and then use enhance. If you're tempted to maybe stack endurance charges, 6, 8, 10, whatever, damage per endurance is not terrible. Lastly, double damage when focused is another mod to explore. For Helm, I simply have high armor base 1, nothing special. Spiritual Anointed on the Ashes of the Stars, which gives us a ton of damage if you stack minion attack speed, which we do. Decent ring with chaos resistances, self-crafted bone ring, fairly nice to be sure, but achievable by anyone. Before level 90 or so, I was using regular Celestial Brace gloves and self-casting the Vulnerability Curse, which is more damage but requires casting. The ones that I have equipped were 1 Divine and give me nice quality of life, albeit less damage. Nice jewels in Darkness and Throne Belt. Each one was like 60 chaos. Main thing to look out for is the minion steal damage if you used minion skill recently, which we do every time we attack. Corrupted Blood Jewel, that was 1 divine. Again, quality of life. The boots, nothing special. Bam! Look at that armor. Beautiful. 1 divine. But if you take the crit mod out of it, it would be much, much cheaper. Could even self-craft it for almost nothing. If you want more damage, then Diala's might be the way to go. With just this one change, we get 17% more damage. That's a lot. Elegant Hubris gives us a lot of damage if you can find at least a 2 minion damage mod. But this is a very flexible spot. If you want more defenses, then you simply find a new location for that jewel, or you just don't use the jewel at all. Impale Watcher's Eye, I bought for 1 divine. Might be more expensive, especially early on in the league, but this is one of the lowest hanging fruits that can be substituted for another jewel. I do use the Adorn jewel, but the only damage module that's magic is this one right here. Minion damage and attack speed. So honestly, I use the jewel for quality of life and defensive purposes. If you don't want the quality of life like Fire Song and, you know, ailment reduction, you could aim for jewels such as this: attack speed, two-handed, staves, life, you know, what have you. There's plenty of different combinations you can use. Can even use Fortress Covenant Jewel if you can find a good spot for it. Lastly, don't forget to use tattoos. If you need just a hint of accuracy, get it. Bleeding Avoidance, Armor Casters, etc. They can fill in those small weak points your build may possess. Last but not least, as far as leveling goes, just real quick, all the POBs are listed below, but I started out playing as Molten Strike, and at level 28, I started using the Dawn Blow of Inspiring. I went for like a weird hybrid minion build thing where I did damage myself, but my minions also did a decent amount of damage for a short while. At level 41, I even equipped the Clay Shapers and used 3 golems, which it wasn't too bad. They did a lot of work. Now, this next part you can do much, much sooner, but I wasn't really paying attention, and it wasn't until like level 54, when I started notice the damage drop. So I got myself the Jor Hast 2-handed mace and went to town on enemies with that big ol' mace. And then slowly I transitioned into my actual build by level 68. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, concerns, feedback. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time with another beautiful build.